Everyone is welcome here, it's time to make new friends. Aquavide Uskava, fill your Glencairn. Share a dram with the Spirit of Edmonton. Sluncha!
I love that. So my buddy Adam does that for me, and the sluncha at the end sounds like Opa. Opa, sluncha. I feel like breaking all the glasses around me. It's fantastic. Feels good.
Break the cheap ones.
Welcome to you, the viewer, and welcome to our fantastic panel. Everyone here, and Don, who's going to show up in a second. It's the After Dram, and that means it's time to unwind. So put your feet up, grab a dram. I've got 3 drams, a dram or 3, or a cocktail or 3. Whew. And relax. Relax. There's nothing better to do right now than relax. So quick recap to our evening. Dave, Joss, Rich, and I have been given a top-notch tour of last Straw Distillery in Vaughan or Concord, Ontario, and I'm told they're the same. And you can tell me as well there, Joss, if they are the same, because that's what they told me last time. And we've tasted Don's rye and cast-strength corn whiskey. It was fun. It was educational. It was tasty. And we learned that we like alcohol, I guess, is really the only thing we learned any more than we did before. So let's go with quick introductions, and we're going to go around the gambit. So Yukon, Dave, Joss, and Richard, you're up. Tell us what's in your glasses tonight, gentlemen.
Hey, everybody, it's Yukon Dave coming from the basement as always, and I'm finishing off the first bottle, well, the first jam jar of stuff that Dolph gave me. It's the cast-strength corn whiskey, and now that I've sat with it for a while, I get this really cool, and I don't know if this is if this actually makes sense, but it reminds me of a waxy orange.
No, sure.
Like
it's not because you were making cocktails with orange. That's what I'm smelling.
Yeah, you know me and cocktails. I didn't do my homework. I have to say this, that I was late getting to the show because I was out of town. So
that's all right. Jasper's a beautiful place to be. Joss, what you got?
Well, we got the list, so we're going through, as you mentioned, a couple cocktails here. I think we've got an old fashioned, which classic cocktail. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be delicious. A cold fashioned, which I am brand new to, so also looking forward to checking that out. And finally, finishing up on the classic Manhattan. We're a little short on orange rinds and maraschino cherries here, but we are making do. Obviously, we've got the most important ingredients, which are the rye and corn whiskey, which we got to try earlier. I actually got Don right here, so I'm just going to jump off here for a second. We're going to get him hooked up so he can jump in as well.
Beautiful. And then over to me, and I'll explain what we got. So we had the old fashioned, which was and this was Don's wife's youngest brother, Jose. I'm not sure. I'm getting it wrong. Don will tell me anyways when he gets back. Gave us these recipes. So it's a half teaspoon of sugar, 3 dashes of bitters, 1 teaspoon of water, 2 ounces of corn, cast strength whiskey, and garnish with orange peel. And that's the old fashioned.
That sounds delicious.
Number 2, the cold fashioned. 1 1/4 ounces of corn whiskey cast strength, 1/2 ounce of Cafe Fresco, which is a coffee liqueur, and 3 dashes of orange bitters, optional with the orange peel, and that's what I got for that one. That was great. And the last one, my shaken drink. So I get to play with my shaker, which is nice. And this was 2 ounces of rye whiskey, 1 ounce of vermouth, 3 dashes of bitters, and orange peel. And I don't have the maraschino cherry. So in all, we're looking at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ounces of alcohol in here. And my wife says, don't drink it all. But I might. And on
you
top
are a teacher, so.
It's that time of year, really. Sorry. And Don,
yes.
What are you drinking? Did you make the cocktails for you and Joss?
Yep, I made them. There's the old fashions, the old and the cold.
Good.
And here's the Manhattan, but we forgot to shake it.
Oh, that's okay. Mine, I think, I don't know what the shaking does. It makes it a little bit frothy on top, and it, well, it makes it cloudy. I'm not sure if it's supposed to do it. I might be completely wrong. It might be great. It might not. And we lost a member. He's gone, and he'll be back in a minute, and that's okay. But what I did want to do, one, thank my friend Adam for the introduction, because it's fun, and the song's still rolling around in my head. And two, let's go back just really quickly to the Scorn and the corn whiskey, or the cask strength. Just really quick. I think we came to a decision that it was almost bourbon-like if it wasn't for the lack of vanillin.
Yeah.
And that's it. I think that was it, Dave, because it's got the same mouthfeel as bourbon. It's very creamy, right?
Yeah, there's just that distinctive new barrel taste that you get with the bourbon that
Okay.
I can close my eyes and you can just kind of pick it up. And I didn't get it with this one, so
Okay.
bourbon-esque kind of got away from me until a little later into the drink.
And maybe that's what an STR cast does. It just, that's the way it's going to be. It's going to, and the fact that there was wine in it previously, it's got to have some influence as well. So,
Well, and I didn't get I tasted a lot of wine barrels, and I always get a dryness like that, and I didn't get that on this wine barrel. So I think having it remilled probably pulled some of that wine out of the wood and gave us more wood.
Yeah, it definitely pulls that first layer out. That stain layer is gone completely. When you see when he does this, it is back to white oak.
Nice.
I've had him reach our spirit barrels.
yeah.
You can still see some staining in a spirit barrel, but not so much in the wine barrel.
But wine barrels are charred. They're toasted. They're toasted. They're not charred. So every time I see a wine barrel at the home hardware places, you can just see the difference in color versus anything that had one of our spirits in it.
Yeah.
Any kind of a whiskey. So yeah, there's a difference in barrels.
Yeah. But ultimately, it's the same oak.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm getting my maraschino cherry. So you know what? Let's try the first. No, you're right there. Right. Oh, sorry, my wife's trying to show that there's the. I'm getting a lot of help from people, and I'm getting emails as well. You got to do it this way, and it's not supposed to, but I don't care. I'm on now, and everything's happy, and we're trying the old fashioned. So, what do we think, gentlemen, on the old fashioned?
Well, the spirit's definitely coming through. Like I'm getting that wonderful corn flavor, and it's got legs. It's still in. It's still going. It's still going. That's a good spirit.
Can I ask Don a question here? Like,
sure.
Are you looking at doing an old fashioned as a ready to drink kind of a product?
So I'll put it to you this way: I'm more wanting to prepare a business model to do it for other people, because I'd rather make it than sell it.
Good. Okay.
And let me ask the question comes, why?
So what I found with my contract work is if I come into work to make, let's say, I don't know, so many bottles that I'm going to make $1,000. I make that $1,000 and it's mine. I pay HST on it. I put it into my RC account, meaning I owe corporate tax if I make a profit. But when I make a spirit to sell, now I got to deal with the agent. I got to deal with the entity that wants the taxes for it. I got 3 levels of taxes. I got to pay the LCBO 20 cents for every bottle I do. I got to pay Ontario 61.5% markup. I got to pay the federal government their $12 and whatever LAA. So I'm finding we're doing better doing work for other people than making and selling our own booze.
Okay. And of course, your system's different than what we know out here in the West, and it's fun to see how it's so different everywhere we go. But I look at a lot of the new distilleries, the younger distilleries are doing ready-to-drink products.
Oh, yeah, they are. Absolutely.
It's volume for them.
Yep.
And the volume comes from the sales from their store, where they make a better margin than they would if they sold it through the government system.
Oh, absolutely. And we have the same thing here. For example, so I have in my complex, if you can imagine, I'm in an industrial unit. And my units face south, and then there's a 90-degree turn, and then the units face east. I have another unit there, number 16. So I have 9 and 16. In the back of 16 is bulk ethanol, bottling equipment, barrels, barrel racks, everything. But in the office, I ended up renting it out to a company that became their own distillery. So they're actually called Barrel Hunter Distillery. And they're doing RTDs, and I'm supplying the ethanol for it. But they send it off to somebody who spent $250,000, $300,000 on a canning line to do that RTD. And that's what I'm looking at. The infrastructure to get into that RTD market is insane.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm more about, let me supply the ethanol, let me do the R&D work, let me do the bottling to a level. Like when it get, like I can do maybe up to 10,000 bottles in a comfortable amount of time. And we're still half manual. We're not fully automated. I subbed out the last to Stillwater's distillery, and they did me a really big favor, moved some people out of the way and got my order done. But I'm still finding that it's more lucrative to do work for other people than it is to sell booze in Ontario.
Well,
It's nice to have friends, right? Barry and Barry.
Oh, yeah.
They're nice.
Gentlemen.
it comes down
Let's get
to
back to the RTDs because really quickly, well, maybe not really quickly. What is your business model? Who is your customer that you think is always going to buy your product, or who are you reaching for? Because maybe ready to drinks are not your business model. Maybe it's not the 18 to 21-year-old party hound somewhere, or I don't know. Is that something you're reaching for, or you're really content with what you have?
Here's the way I'm looking at it. As the business evolves, like every other business does, we're finding that, and Josh can attest to you, we're Ubering out of here, and the Uber's going off, and my wife's actually running it tonight. So they're buying our spirits. We have cocktail kits where we do little 250 ml bottles with pop and this and that. But we also rent space to wineries, and we Uber for them. So I've got 2 wineries Ubering out of here. I'm also getting a nano brewery in here. Okay. So we're going to be Ubering beer. So that's like a sales model that's working, and we're making points on that.
Yeah.
I'm doing that contract work for multiple people. Every Friday I have between 2 to 4 phone calls of people that want to get in the alcohol business. Okay. And we've created avenues that they come through our license. So they become agents for us, and we own their brands, and we get it out to the market. But they do all the selling. I just do the production, the bottling. Here you go.
Mr. Entrepreneur. That's it. Maybe
you know what? You got to make money where you can to stay in this business. And honestly, what my customer base really, I want to focus on making whiskeys. Okay. And I want to make whiskeys for whiskey people. I don't want to make Crown Royal. I want to make what I make.
Excellent. Richard, you missed it a little bit. We already started our first drink. So the, what's this called again? The first one was the
Old Fashioned.
Old Fashioned, not the Cold Fashioned, the Old Fashioned. So quick thoughts from you before we continue on to other things. I want to get you involved a bit, buddy.
Sure, yeah. The Old Fashioned is really watery. Given that all of my ice has melted in all of these drinks so far, because it's 34 degrees or 33 degrees. So maybe it's not the best cocktail weather right now. But again, I like Dave. Dave, where's Dave? Oh, like Dave. You got to get used to this opposite thing, right?
Yeah.
Like Dave, I've never been a cocktail guy. I'm certainly enjoying one of the things that's come out of the journey so far with you, Dolph, is that I'm learning a lot about cocktails and that I actually enjoy them. They still take a lot of time, and I messed up on some of them. Putting the wrong whiskey in, and you read that sugar, really, but you pull out the salt, and it's just a little. Anyway, my thoughts on this one.
Yep.
I like the bitters. They add an extra little je ne sais quoi. It's nice. It's still cool because there's still cool liquid in there, but it's nice. I would drink it.
And the rest of you, I'm wondering, because I find these really easy to drink. Too easy, right? Yes. It really is, because we have 6 ounces or 7 ounces in these 3 drinks that we have in front of us. and they'll disappear before the remaining not scotches, the whiskeys that we have. And I think that's terribly dangerous. I think it's really irresponsible for people to make cocktails. Is where I'm coming from, maybe.
In all fairness, I only made a half size of each because of that factor.
I make a little bit more because I give some to my wife. So it's I don't know. So it's terribly dangerous. Don, where do you sit on the dangerousness of cocktails?
I think whiskey should be enjoyed in their form that they come out of the bottle. I don't believe in cocktails, but you know what? It's like when I went on the Jim Beam tour. We were driving through Kentucky, and I saw it, and I went in, and we just caught the tour. And I remember going through the tour, and they said, "We don't care how you enjoy our spirit; we just care that you buy it." Yep. So I'm like this: if somebody wants to buy my cask strength rye whiskey that I only made 48 bottles of, and they want to throw it in Coke, by all means, knock yourself out.
No, the rye was in the Manhattan.
No, but I'm saying like the cask strength rye when we only had 48 bottles. You know, if someone came and said, "Oh, I just want a rye to mix with Coke," I'm not going to not sell it to them. It's here you go. But like, to be fair, I don't even go back and do the numbers on what it cost me to make some of these things, because I'm pretty sure on the corn, I might break even. I might break even at 65.
Okay.
But if I can make money on other things, like one thing Mike and I learned, well, I don't know if Mike learned it, I learned it. Our first rye went out at $75 because I wanted to go out at 60, 65. And I'm not saying it because I want to be right, but Mike had a point. We really killed ourselves to make that. We did it by hand. It was mashed by hand. We were standing over the heat. We were dying doing it. We did it at 55 gallons per mash to make a barrel. It took forever.
Jeez.
And he said, "We got to get big money for this. It's our first one." Okay. And we got hit hard on Reddit. We got hit hard on a lot of social media. You know what I can buy for $75? It's a 3-year-old whiskey, you know, yada, yada, yada. And we tried to explain, hey, you know, there's a lot of taxes, not a lot of money left over. And what I realize is people don't care. But if you don't get your whiskey in people's hands, they're never going to know your name. They're just going to know you're that guy that charges way too much for stuff and thinks you should get it because you're small. So that's when I made a rule. We don't go above $65.
And you don't put it out before it's ready. The single malt.
Absolutely not. I will not put whiskey out before. And it's not if I think it's ready and Mike thinks it's ready. We go to multiple people. I send samples out.
Question. Who are your people? I put that leader. Who do you trust enough to do it? Is it mostly family, or do you have a lot of industry people?
No. Family loves you. Never.
They'll say anything.
Well, you know what? The problem is when you make spirits, you fall in love with them. And it's like it's your child. You're going to love your child no matter what mistakes they make or things they do. So you're in love with what you make. So you are no judge of your own stuff. So don't judge it. But your family loves you.
Okay.
And it's very rare to have an honest family member who will hurt your feelings.
You have a nicer family than me. My family would tell me anything. You know what, Dolph? This is crap. Crap.
You know, I've seen, like, I just don't want to get caught in that trap. So a lot of times I'll send stuff out to Davin, Blair. I've sent stuff out to the Rum Howler, and he is brutal. Yeah. He is brutal, and it's perfect. Really? That's what I want. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, he'll be honest. Like, he's actually said to us on one occasion, "Do you really want me to make a written review of this?" And we said, "That's up to you. We send it to you. You do what you want with it, but let us know what you think." And he did, and it was perfect. That's what I want to hear. I don't know if you know Joanne McInnes out in the East Coast.
Yep. Yep.
I've sent stuff to Joanne because she is brutal. She will tell you. So,
okay.
It's good to hear those things, but now we're starting to get our legs on what we think is good is actually good. So,
okay.
But I still like these ones here. I had Rob come by just for the cask strength. The rye I was pretty confident on. The corn, I was confident with the corn. It was just, do I go at cask strength? And then what sold me was Rob said do it, but the other thing was, name me another cask strength corn.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
So I just stood out. It's a good spirit. It drinks well, and I stood out.
Yep.
Drinks beautifully.
Yeah. Thank
So
you.
Don, like we're looking for people to bounce things off, and there's a million guys that are doing blogs out there, and they're all whiskey reviewers.
Mhm.
And obviously, you found a group that you have some confidence in.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I look at that. I said, well, everybody's saying, hey, yeah, send me some samples. We'll talk about it. No, I don't send samples to people that I don't have confidence in.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. You got to have confidence in the person.
Yeah.
And
Or
it's
that's
funny.
just going to say it's great because he gave me the sample. Is that what you're talking about? Is that where you're alluding, or
Well,
Okay, so-
no. Even if they give you a good review or a bad review, do you still have confidence in them as a legitimate source of? Does this guy know what he's talking about, or this lady know what they're talking about?
right?
There's like people like, yeah, they're like, yeah.
there's another gentleman I trust, and I send out to him. I won't put his name out here for various reasons, but he had a lot of people sending him stuff at one time. And a distillery that I won't name sent him stuff and said, hey, thanks for the great review in the samples. So that already pissed him off.
Already.
And then he went and tried them, and he emailed me, and it was almost like he vomited his thoughts onto a page. And he
Okay.
said to me, I would love to say, why don't you go see Last Straw to learn how to do this? And I sent back, do not do that. And he goes, I'm not going to. I wouldn't do that to you. But he goes,
Don't get me involved in your fights.
well, he said they sent me 4 things, said, thanks for the great review. And he said 3 or 4 were undrinkable, and 1 was just almost undrinkable.
Wow.
And it was a young distillery, and I get it. Like I said, people fall in love with what they make, but they should never trust their own instincts.
No, I think you should trust your own instincts, but you need people to balance you.
You
really
trust
do.
your instincts in what you make, but before you release it to the public, to get ready to get that shit storm or that love, you need to get some honest opinions.
And we were talking about Davin and Blair before. I just want to promote their book. They're fantastic guys. There's the book right there. Davin will always tell me the truth, which is great. Blair will play around with it a little bit. He will, but if you get him into a corner, he'll tell you. Davin, it's like boom. Especially in the after dram, you get him around 11 o'clock my time, 12 or 1 his time. He'll tell you anything. And sometimes you don't want to hear it. So good for you for seeking truth, because truth is important, and in any business. I know this one, people are paying money, but in every business they're paying money for it. But they look to people within the business for opinions, and they have trust in certain people as well. And well, let's just go back to Whiskey in the Six. I like him because he's let's call him a straight shooter. Done. I like that.
Yeah.
My wife used that as the thing, and that's it is straight to the point. He will dance sometimes. But especially towards the end, after he's had 3 or 4 drams on the air, it's like, bang, I'll tell you exactly. And I like that too. So I can appreciate that. And Don, I appreciate that fact. Is there anyone else in the industry? I'm wondering if you go to other distillers and you taste other distilleries' products to compare yours to them. I'm wondering.
So I do that.
For competition.
I do that when somebody releases something like I do. Like when Dylan's released a rye, I was on for the very first rye to see what it was like. And when he released his full bottle, the 500 mil or whatever he did, I bought that. I know there's a few others I've tried. I haven't gone much out of the province because, I think the only thing I've ever ordered out of the province may have been Eau de Claire. I ordered their gin to see how it compared to ours, because I know people are raving about it. So I like to see how things go compared to ours. I'm never worried about that or necessarily jealous. It's more just like R&D to see what they're doing. Are they doing something really cool? Like I know one thing that came up, and I forget what distillery did it, but they're using Lafroig barrels to get that
Shelter Point.
Shelter Point.
Yeah.
Because
and I looked
the BC
at that.
government,
Yeah.
The BC government won't let you, like they can't get the tax break from the government if they use peated malt that's not made in BC.
So they had to
No.
go to the barrels to get it in.
No, they're allowed to, as if it's not available within that province. So at a certain point, there was no peat available in BC, and they could go outside of BC.
One of the
And now I'm not
distillers,
sure if peat's even available.
one of the distillers we talked to out of BC, and I think it was either Oliver or it was Odd Society, they actually put the peated malt in a basket inside the still. Do you remember that?
That was Douglas. Yeah, Douglas teabag.
Yeah, they teabag. So it's
But it
sometimes
wasn't because he wasn't going to get the money. That was just he wanted to do something unique or different, I think. I don't think it had to do with it.
In BC, you get a break if you use BC product.
Yep. Yes,
if you don't, all of a sudden you pay full tax, and the tax in BC, like most other provinces, is astronomical.
Yeah, yeah.
As long as the product is available in BC, that's when you get dinged. If it's not available in BC, you don't get dinged.
But I think my point about that was I looked at they did that, and your visceral reaction is, hey, that was brilliant. I should do that.
Yeah.
And then my calm reaction is, well, hang on a second. That's something they did. They're known for that. Do I want to be known as a chaser? No.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to be the Me Too guy. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So
we have a distillery here in Alberta that did a purple gin.
Yeah.
And I said, really, what? The guys in Victoria already done that. Why? Like
why chase? Yeah, don't chase.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you had mentioned on, you would, as you do in the whiskey industry or the spirits industry, like you might be interested in seeing what other people are doing. So let's just say, with Eau Claire, for example, you grab their gin, you tried it. I don't know what your reaction to it was. It might have been, this is okay. I don't get the hype, or this is fantastic. Mm-hmm. Do you then take that away and say, how do we improve our product to maybe not mimic theirs, but like you can take some points from that? I guess what I'm more specifically asking about is you were referring to the R&D side of things. So the R&D in the spirits business is great, but there's also the takeaway. So how do you then alter? Do you alter your process? If you find something you like, and how does that kind of look?
So what I do is I look at what they're making, not to say I want to make mine like theirs. What I do is see what level do I think they're at, what level am I at, and am I just not working at the level I need to be at? And then what I would do is start from scratch. I wouldn't take what they're doing. And Brandon is the gin guy. He does all our gin experiments. He's done thousands of them. But we would look at it together and say, where do we go from here? And so if I pulled Eau de Claire and I thought, oh my God, they're like 100 points ahead of us. We're terrible. We suck. They're great. I would abandon the gin we're doing and start from scratch. I wouldn't chase them because I don't want to follow anybody. I don't want to, I like, what's the point of being the next same thing?
Right.
Wow.
I'd rather
you want to find your thing.
Well, I want to find my thing, but I also want to do unique and interesting things. Like I've got a 7-grain whiskey that has chickpea in it. That's because my miller is out of his mind. But he comes to me with these ideas and says, hey, let's do this. Like, all right, I've got rice whiskey. Actually, I can even show you.
Please. I want to see some.
That's interesting.
Which one is it? Oh, the one with the R on top. This is Argentinian long grain rice whiskey.
Nice.
Looks great.
It looks amazing. It's 3 years old. It tastes kind of like sake. Like it's really cool. It's like a cross between whiskey and sake. This one here is 3 years old and it's horrid. It's well, I shouldn't say horrid. It's not there.
It's not ready yet.
And it's spelt. And it's spelt with rye and I think corn. I have to go back in the mash bill.
Now, when you're looking for these things to create something new, how much research are you doing into the different types of fermentable sugars? Because obviously you're not going to try something that someone said is unfermentable.
Oh,
It
yeah,
might
I've
be
done
sweet,
that.
but unfermentable.
I've done unfermentable.
Well, no, you've talked about the hemp. Remember the hemp? We
Yeah,
talked
I
about
did
that
hemp.
last
geez.
year.
I remember
did
that
hemp.
now.
Yeah.
Have you done anything else like that just to
Yes,
see if it could happen?
I have.
Tell us.
All I can tell you is I developed a vodka for somebody that had an unfermentable element,
Okay.
but I used it for the fermentable value it had, which theoretically would be about on an average mash I can make about 3% alcohol from it, which is not good enough.
Ooh, that's horrible.
But I mixed in a grain
Okay.
to it, and what I did is I juiced the element to use it as the water in the mash. So I retained all the sugars. I used a grain, and they ended up with a double gold.
That's cool.
Congratulations.
Well, it's theirs, not mine, but they did call me and say thank you, and it wouldn't happen without you. But I do a lot of work for people, like weird R&D stuff. I don't turn an idea down.
Okay.
Because I figure, and most ideas, like on small scale, I do for free. Like you bring me the stuff, I'll just run it.
Let's do the math on this, Don. How fermentable does it have to be? What percent do you have to get out of the mash before it's still profitable? And there's different prices to grains.
That's a funny word, profitable. You really want to shoot for 8%. Like you got to get yourself around 8%. We've done some higher gravity stuff and gotten to 9. I worked with a brewery on their stout spirit, and that was the best ferment I've ever seen. We got that to 15%. And we actually have a stout whiskey coming out in November, and it is phenomenal. It is chocolate. It is malty. It is just it's brilliant. It's going to be probably our best whiskey.
Can
I get on last year? Did you not a stout?
We have our stout spirit. It's only 4 months old.
But last year we weren't talking about a stout spirit. I thought we were.
Yeah, we did. We did a stout spirit, but I've done a stout whiskey. So I'm waiting till November until it's 3 years old.
Got it.
So how do we get on your list so that we make Dolph and I get a bottle?
Yeah, we have to be reliable sources.
You got to be a reliable source.
Honest feedback.
Honest feedback. Tell me I suck when I suck.
Are we reliable?
You have to liquor us up first, Dave, and then we're reliable.
I'm starting to feel some reliability here. It's some honesty. Like, you know what? That's all you need is honesty. Just give us some honesty, and that's good. And I would do the same for other people, but nobody ever asks me for that. They bring me stuff and say, "Oh, here, I just made this rum," and I try it, and it's like, "Oh my God, the tails!" Like, I've literally opened a bottle in the distillery, and Joss can attest to the size of my distillery. It is not big, but I was at the still in the back. I opened a bottle. Brandon walked through the front door and said, "Oh my God, that's tailsy as hell."
Stop.
He could pick up the tails from the bottle I opened.
Wow.
And it was another distillery that did something that we bought, and it was horrible. But I have a rule. I will never, ever talk shit about another distillery. I'll never give a name.
That's good.
Yeah.
They're out there, but I won't name them. Right.
You'd mentioned the ice still, and sorry, this is just to circle back. I'm just trying to understand because you talked about how it took the think into things, right? So it determines, what part of the heads you're going to keep, what part of the heart, what part of the tails. But I also wonder, who sets the? I mean, I know there's science behind it.
Yeah.
There's temperatures and things you're looking for. But I also know there's part of that process where you kind of sample it and you're like, maybe we'll run that a little bit longer, or no, maybe we'll cut that off there. Like, do you find that? Just the idea of like something automated, kind of determining the premium points of those versus sort of that like human palate experience to determine, the handcraftiness of it, I guess.
Right.
Would letting go of that be a bit,
Well, here's what I use an iStill for. I do my mashing in my mechanical still, in my standard analog, whatever I do, it's still like Franken still. I'll do my mashing in there. I do my fermenting. I'll do my stripping. I'll do my spirit run in there. And if I'm going to lay a barrel down, I do it. and I pick it. But when I have my heads and my tails, if you have an eye still, you put everything in an eye still that's left over, and what you end up with is pure ethanol from your base. It takes out all the bad elements. Now, I say eye still, but I mean Genio, because that's what they are. Because eye still became another thing, and I am not a fan. I rarely endorse companies, but I would counter endorse eye still. And tell you that I own a 50-liter Genio, because what I'll do, if I'm doing a rye run, I'll do my heads cut, and I'll go deep into my hearts. And I'll put so many liters away. And then I'll do my cut, and as soon as I get that bitter note that I don't want, cut it there. But I take the tails down to 10, 12%. I take all that, I throw it in the eye still, or the Genio.
Yeah.
And I distill that. And here's what I did for fun. And Dolph will love this. I did that. And I took a liter of it over to Stillwaters, and I said, "Hey guys, I did this rye. What do you think?" And they tried it, and they went, "Wow, that's a really clean rye." But it was. I know it was, but I wanted their opinion too. And it was heads and tails from the rye run through the Genio, and then elevated it up.
Excellent.
And it's just the way it operates. So I like what I say. Anybody who comes through my shop says, "What still should I buy?" I say, "I don't know. If you got money for a Vendôme, they're pretty. Buy a Vendôme. You got money for a Coth, a Carl, by all means. If you got that cash and you want that, go for those. Right? Forsyth. If you got Forsyth money, why are you talking to me?" But
so distillers, you will
get
never,
a Genio.
You'll never mention anything bad about that. But distilling equipment companies, man, those guys are fair game.
So what I tell them is they're all good. It's the guy. I don't know if you guys ever seen a distillery called North of Seven.
Yep.
Greg Lippin and Jesse. Not Jesse. Sorry, Jody. Greg and Jody. Great guys. Wonderful guys. Ottawa kids.
I've got a bottle of
they're
those
in
over
there. Yep. And I remember talking to Jody, and we were talking one day, and he has still similar to mine, stainless steel pots, stainless steel tri-clamp columns, and this and that. And I said, you ever had someone come in your shop and say, "Oh, I went to Dillon's and they had this beautiful copper still, and I went to Stillwater's, they had this beautiful copper still, and you guys have this." And Jody said to me without hesitation, he said, "Have you ever gone to a restaurant, had the best meal of your life, and then gone and asked the chef to see the pot it was made in?" He goes, "No, it doesn't matter. Just make the spirit." And he was right. Who gives a shit what your still looks like? Who gives a shit who you use? That's why I tell people, buy whatever you want. I tell people, buy what you can afford, but always get a little Genio in the corner just to pick up your waste. Even if you just turn it into vodka, who cares? Because it brings your balance sheet up.
Well, here's another one for you, Don. Sorry, and I'm kind of hogging the space here. Dolph, I promise I will.
Oh, you're good, man. You're at
I've just been jotting these down as the conversation's been flowing, but this is kind of going back to the first part of when we kicked in here. We were talking about the corn whiskey, and 64%, fantastic. It drinks great. It's a very good product. And maybe you're like, "Oh man, you're not giving me the feedback I need." But I'm being honest with you here.
Yeah.
But you could water that down to 40%, right? And you're going to get way more bottles out of it, and that's going to potentially bolster you can sell way more, not way more, but you just have more bottles of that product.
Absolutely.
Why,
oh yeah.
What leads you to that decision to be like, you know what? I know I could extend this, and it'll help my pad my bank account a bit more because I've got a bit more stuff that I can push out through the doors here. But I'm going to keep this at 64% because you know what? To hell with it. I like it.
That's where the spirit was best, and I've got my rule: $65 is the limit. If I needed $80 for it, too bad, not going to get it. I don't know. I just want the spirit to be right. I want to be proud of what I put out. And I think it's almost worse that I won the awards because now I'm paranoid. So I went up and down different spirit levels with this and came where I thought. And I went out and asked a lot of people what they thought. And Mike and I, we didn't battle over it or anything, but we debated on it, and he thought it should be lower, and I thought no, it should be cask strength. And I didn't actually bring this up in the main thing, but one thing I think I told Joss, but I haven't told anybody else. Not only is this not chill filtered or color added, this isn't filtered.
No filter.
No
Not
filter.
even.
Not even one bit. This is a barrel pull. So what I did is I emptied the barrel and I let it sit for weeks.
That's that one right there.
Yeah. And what I did is I racked it. I racked it into the bottle machine so that there would hopefully be no sediment, but it does say on the back, I think unfiltered sediment will appear. There is no filtering whatsoever.
I like sediment. I like it when it comes out.
And the other thing is, I can't find really anybody else doing that. And somebody may be. I'm not saying I'm right about that, but I wanted to give people what a barrel pull is.
And independent bottlers, Blackadder's the best at that. For an independent bottler, I really like that. And I do say that. If they're adult snow globes, you move it, you see the chalk. It's
the charred barrel bits move around in there. Yeah,
I love that.
I was freaked out at first. I thought, did we get a bad bottle?
Chunks are definitely good.
Richard,
bring them on.
I'm glad you're on. I kept muting you because I was getting feedback, but I'm good now. So, Richard,
are you getting the feedback from mine?
I was. So that's why I was. But you're good now.
All right.
But I do want to know questions and comments from you and Dave because I talk all the time. Joss has had fantastic questions. Don's supposed to talk. I'm
on my second cocktail already. So.
Well, we're gonna get you drunk tonight, buddy. The after Dram. We're gonna talk about everybody. That's all right. Richard, question, comment?
Couple of comments. I gotta say that the recipes that I've had for the cocktails, they're still sitting there. Not that fond of the cocktails of this time, but I've gone back to the cask strength corn, and I'm in my happy place again. This is lovely. So,
me too.
Yeah, I'm loving it. So, it's got all that stuff that you want. It's got that sweetness. It's got the richness. It's got spice. It's got body to it. I'm surprised it's only like 3 years old or something. What is it? 3? Yeah, 3 years old. This one's 3.
Oh no, sorry. 3.5 is the rye.
Yeah.
3.5 is the rye.
Yeah, no, I hope you make more of this stuff. So
there's another cask laid down. So
and I hope that you can get this out to BC. I don't know if it'll sell because of marketing and getting into BC and all that stuff. But
I will mail it out to BC, and we have a standard shipping fee.
Okay, great, love it.
People in BC, Alberta, or whoever wants it, we'll get it to you.
Awesome. Yeah, no, this is good stuff. I like it.
And actually, it's great because I already got a sale on the show tonight. So
while we're talking, it's good. Yeah.
Did it happen just after I spoke, or is it?
No, it happened after in the first segment. So
here, I'll show you. No, it's John Jameson from. He's one of our guys.
One of our guys, yeah.
Oh, okay. He's the guy that doesn't like the cocktails. He's a purist. I think that's the conversation.
I can agree with John. It's good for you, John.
Same. I agree.
Plus that Dave. Bottle of stout whiskey that I'm buying.
Yep.
So you got 2 tonight. Going back to the first segment we had, we were talking about coming in, being the distiller for the day, helping out around the distillery.
Yep.
I sit and listen to Don. I said, "There's no way I qualify to even go in there because I can move hoses, I could scrub a tub, I could do the stuff that you need to know. Like whiskey sounds really simple till I listen to you talk."
Well, the thing is though, and Dolph alluded, he sent that email out to me saying, "Hey, this is what we want to talk about." We didn't talk about it, but I said a monkey can distill. It really takes mashing and fermentation. Because really, the alcohol is made in mashing and fermentation. So I have this joke I tell brewers every time I see them. I always say brewers are lazy. You stop just before you make it into something cool. But that's a lie because brewers work really hard. And we just brewed a little home batch for a brewer I know, a really, really good brewer came to brew a Scottish IPA that I love. And nice. I found the recipe online. He came to brew it for us so we can have some really cool beer to drink. But and I got tons of respect for brewers. But the thing is, that's the important part in my world: the mashing and the fermenting. I don't care what your still is. I don't care who you are. If you don't understand it, it's easy to figure out. And if you screw it up, pour it all back in and do it again. And if you're really not sure what to do, then get a big table, get 1 liter mason jars, get your still running, and start pulling a liter off at a time. And lay out every liter in a row and mark them all. Number them 1 to 50 or whatever liters you get out of it. And then go back and pick them off. And you'll know it. If you put heads beside hearts, you'll figure it out. Exactly. If you do heads to tail, you'll figure it out. It's not extremely difficult. And I know there's these folklore stories about, in Scotland when the still had a dent in it and it made the best whiskey ever, they put the dent back in when they made the next. It's all horse shit.
Yeah.
It's all bullshit. You're boiling mash to extract ethanol. Yes, you need copper. Does shape and whatever make a difference? Sure, it does. But I've made these whiskeys with probably some of the most economical equipment you can get your hands on. So, what is it? I'm brilliant? No, I'm far from that. I'm an ex-construction worker. I used to have my hands in people's crap in sewers, and I became a distiller. It's all about understanding, I think, the mashing, fermentation, and just caring about what you do and making sure you don't put something out that's crap. And if it's crap, don't let other people tell you it's crap, and don't get upset when they tell you it's crap. Just accept it and move on.
Don, I'm going to put you, and I want you to put yourself in the shoes of your son, Brandon. So are you the more of the scientist or the artist, and Brandon more the artist than the scientist? Because I see you kind of maybe more the scientist, maybe your son more the artist.
Brandon,
or do you think you're all like?
Brandon is absolutely no BS at all. He is like, no, this tastes like crap. Don't put this out. He'll walk in and say, you're into tails. Like, he'll give me shit for how I distill. But one thing Brandon cares about is how everything looks, how the labels are, how good the spirit is going in. Like, he takes care of a lot of stuff, and he thinks I'm a renegade. Like, I let things go, and he covers the details. But his palate is far superior to mine. So if we, like, when we want to make something really good, I'd rather he do it than I do it. And because his cuts are tighter than mine.
Proud Papa. That's good.
Yeah,
but
no, he was here. He was with me from day one. So
let's put this in a different I'm a teacher. So I'm thinking, are you going to send him to Harriet Watt in Scotland for that 2-year master's program, and he come back and be even more decisive as to how you should do stuff?
You know, it's funny, when Niagara College put up in Ontario, they put up their distilling course.
Yep. I
said to him, okay, you've been distilling now for years. Do you want to go? And he said, no. Okay. He said, I'd rather just do it here. I probably know more than they're going to know. And he's right. He figured it out. He learned with me. We learned from scratch. We learned together. So I'm not the teacher, and he's not the student. We're the same.
Grasshopper and
he's
teacher
just better than I
am. The one.
Yeah,
but you do have the program where people could actually pay and go to see you guys too. So what's his role in that? When people come to actually produce something at your place, I'm wondering what your son does. Does he bring them through something? Does he tell them stuff? He does all the gin work with people. So if someone wants to do a gin experiment, he's the guy. He understands it up and down. I do not know anything about gin. I know what we do, and he knows all about the botanicals, what they do, the flavor, the profile, the ratios. That's all him. I do most of the whiskey work. And when we do, we used to actually give courses on how to open a distillery. We did those for a couple of years. We did, I think, 2 or 3 of them. I can't remember 100%. I would do those, and Mike Hook would come and help. He'd do the legal. I would do the distilling part. And it was good. We got a lot of feedback on that. We've actually launched a couple distilleries with that. So, but yeah, he stays out of that. But he's all about the experiments, the R&Ds for the gin.
You know, he picks up where I fall down.
Good.
When I'm exhausted, he's here.
Simpatico. And
Yeah.
well, he's working the nights because you're the father,
Oh,
which is
well, he's
fine.
working. No, he's working the nights because
no
he's young and
problem
he's
with that.
yeah.
No problem with that whatsoever.
No.
You know what? Because you said I was going to do this. I had this quote lined up. Don, last
here we
year
go.
you also stated that mashing and fermenting are the most important aspects of distilling, as you could train a monkey to distill.
Yep.
I wanted to say that because we kind of led into it, but there's two questions that I want to address with that. We talked about a lot of them before, but one, how long does it take you to nail down a recipe when you have something in mind? How many runs maybe? And two, how long does it take you to figure out what the spirit's going to probably taste like in different types of woods? Those two questions really interest me, so I want to put them out.
Okay, so the monkey thing is the reason I say that is because
your son's not a monkey. I know that.
My son, but it's more a reference to me.
Okay.
So think of it this way. Oh God, what's his name? I'm thinking who the most respected person in distilling for me is Jim McEwen.
Okay.
I watch everything about Jim McEwen. I love watching his documentaries, everything he did. He started as a kid. He went to Bowmore and put his nose up against the window, asked for a job, and never went back to school. I don't have that opportunity.
Yeah.
But he learned through that, and he learned every aspect of it. But if you notice when you listen to him, what did he learn? He learned every aspect. He learned the malting. He learned the cutting the peat, like everything. The distilling was a final part of it.
Yeah.
I'm the monkey. I distilled for the first time when I got a license. Yeah. I found a simple moonshine recipe. I made it, and the first thing I ever made, I sold. I did 600 to 1,000 hours of research into it, but at the end of the day, I was just a monkey. I actually, here's one step further. I didn't even have my high school diploma when I first distilled.
That's fine. I did not. I still don't have my. I have my master's, but I don't have my high school diploma. I quit school, went into the armed forces, went back and got my 30 level classes so I can get into university. I have my master's, but I have like 65 credits in high school. I don't have that, so you don't need the high school. Although, if I'm talking about,
my point, I think is valid. Like
something different.
But my point, I think, is valid. Like if I can do it,
I don't think anyone.
The mashing and the fermenting were what I learned to focus on.
Okay.
Because it became clear that the distilling is just a mechanical process.
Yeah.
And okay, yes, you can have different shaped stills. You can have that. You got to have the nose and the palate. But I tell you, if you're taking from the parrot as it's running and you're tasting, you're smelling, that's one thing. But if you break it down, and that's how you train yourself, you break it down to either half liter or 1 liter increments. Once you break it down, lay it on, and you don't do anything, you just break it down till the run's down to like whatever percentage you decide is done. You do that and you go through them, it's blatantly clear. And once you've done that enough times, you can now do it live. You don't need to do that. And it's all training yourself. They've got like, hey, they got monkeys working computers, right? So
I use the same line with my students. I say I can train a monkey to use a calculator, but do you know when and how, right?
Yeah.
When should he? But I still want to go back. How long does it take you to figure out a recipe? You've got something in mind. How many runs will it take you? Do you figure, or time wise? I don't even know. Before
when you say a recipe, you're talking specifically like a mash bill or a different grain?
Came up with the idea for Scorn, maybe. And how did it happen the first time?
Scorn was hilarious because Scorn was Toronto Distillery. Jesse and Charles.
Right.
Yeah, they called me and said, hey, we got this mash that we're going to throw out. Do you want it? And it's like, yeah, I'm already in my truck with my pump in a vessel. I'm coming. Like, I'll take it. But when we distilled it, it was apparent right then and there when I first distilled that this was something amazing. this was going to be great. And I still credit them. Like, without them, that would never exist. Charles is in the U.S. Jesse's in Hamilton. He's a lawyer there. And I speak to them often, and I say, guys, there's 2 bottles here. Whenever you come, I bought them for you. They're for you. Like, and you know, that was their point. And it's funny, Jesse said when we won, we got an award. I think it was in the artisan distilling thing in BC. It was a terroir, and he goes, yeah, that was what we were after, was local, you know, grain to glass, all from, and that was his intention with that. And it was like, yeah, well, thanks, because you gave it to me, and now I'm running with it.
And I'm doing all right with it too.
Yeah, we're doing good. No, they were very proud. They were happy and proud, like, because it was like, I had a great relationship with them. I remember when they first started up, and I was a little bit jealous they got going before I did, but you know, that faded away once I met them, and they're great guys. And
what was it about? What was it about the that they? Why did they want to check it out?
They had to do a gin run for the LCBO, and when the LCBO put you on a call and you got to have something by a certain date, you got to. They had to caustic their still, get ready for gin, and go.
Okay.
So I was the benefactor of the scorn, and
Nice.
we named it after that, and then we ordered some more, and we fortunately got enough to do 2 runs, and I bought some later, did another scorn run. Unfortunately, the second run I did, I just went and tried it. It's 3.5, 4 years old. It's horrible.
Now,
the
when you
barrel's
say horrible, needs more time in wood or too woody?
No, yes, it needs a lot more time in wood. It's going to be an 18-year-old whiskey.
That
do you ever
might
send
do
bad
very
products
well.
to reviewers that you don't like just to make them drink it?
So no, what happened was I didn't do the same barrel treatment, and I used the wrong barrel. It was a triple twice used barrel, so 3rd fill, and it just does not work. So it's sitting there. It may get blended after the fact into a new char with something else. I don't know, but I cannot release it like that, and I won't. But I've done another one since. The only difference is I put it into a Buffalo Trace barrel.
Oh, okay.
And I might do a double barrel treatment on it. I might go Buffalo Trace for 3 years, and then 6 months in a new char, pull that vanilla flavor out and see if it works. And honestly, a lot of times it's like throwing a dart at a dartboard. I'm guessing.
Make it work.
Yeah,
Just
like
like
I don't have Jim McEwen's experience. I know Jim says he walks through a place and looks at a barrel, and you know, it almost talks to him like, you know, the hoops aren't too bad, and the staves are tight, and this and that, and the smell's great. I look at it and go,
he was
oh,
a
shit.
trooper for a long time before
Yeah,
he actually made his next step, right? So
This is the point. Like, I'm never going to get his experience. So I have to work with what I could figure out quickly. And one thing I figured out is I got to live in 3 to 5 years of barrel treatment, barrel time, because I can't afford to live much more. So yeah, the new chars, the 3s and 4s are everything.
Gentlemen, we're coming to the end of it. We made 3 cocktails, so I want a quick rundown on your cocktails, and then I'm going to sign off, and we'll do the After Dram. I have still 4 pages, 5 pages of questions, which I'm not going to get to. Maybe that'll be next year or when I get there. But what do you guys think of the old fashioned compared to the cold fashioned, the cold brew?
Really, the cold fashioned should have Cafe Fresco in it, which we do here.
Yeah, and
we make our own cold brew.
It was Jose, right? Jose?
No, Jose.
Jose. Okay.
Yes.
I was trying to pronounce his name before, and that is your wife's youngest brother, correct?
Yes. Yes.
And he gave us these recipes, so we want to pay homage to him. Thank you very much for these. But tell us what you think. Compare these two, and then we're going to the Manhattan really quick. Anyone?
Yeah,
I drank all mine are all gone. I drank them all.
I like the coffee
out of control
to it. It just adds a different note. Yep. And it almost makes it, I think, more approachable.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah, that coffee note to the the second cocktail was definitely, it was just that nice little thing. It was the first one was missing, I think.
Yeah.
I'd like to say that the bartender at this establishment is horrible and didn't make a single good cocktail tonight. So,
well, the one here is horrible too, but we muddled through.
So I'm
muddled
with,
through.
Is it John Jameson? Is that the guy's name? I'm going to be going back to being a purist. I've had about 4 of these. This is the corn whiskey.
You've had about 4 of those. Holy
well, it's my
shit.
favorite. This is the one that I keep going back to. It's lovely.
He's got some.
So-
Might as well drink it.
Yeah, that's right.
My bartender is okay. I did all right. I'm pretty happy with myself, I've got to
Nice.
say. And the cold brew I do like, but I don't know if I want bitters in it. I think the coffee doesn't need the orange. But so sorry, Josie. Sorry.
Yeah.
Jose. So I didn't say that. And the Manhattan, everybody.
I've still got most of mine.
Really?
It got watered down because of the ice cube that melted,
Oh, got it.
and I like the taste of the whiskey, so I can't judge.
I'm not a Manhattan fan, but I think it's pretty good. The rye stands up, so I can get the rye out of it. So yeah, I would drink that.
It's 2.5 ounces or 3 ounces in here, so it's pretty good. And my wife's not stopping me because it's at the end of the show, so I can keep drinking it. Joss, a little comment on, and you have to be honest. Don really respects honesty. What do you think of his cocktails?
You know, I'm not going to give Don any low points here. He was working with very, here's our different glassware. He's missing the orange. He's missing the maraschino cherry. Like this is just we're pretty much working with stones and hammers here. And no, he did a great job. These are definitely right. It's a great. It's nice to see how these whiskeys can be used in a cocktail. I like just going right to the source, but I can see why people may enjoy some of these. Change it up a bit.
Great. I still envy you. Joe was there tonight there, Just. Good job. You did fantastic, man. Dave, last comment before I pass it over to Don.
Hey, I got a question for Don, and
Sure.
I was coming home today at a 4-hour drive to get here, and I was listening to this thing on CBC, and they were trying to explain the hair on corn and what's that's actually used for. And the scientists said that there was a fungus that got into the corn and wiped out 40% of the Ontario corn crop. Have you felt the effects of this?
Honestly, no, because I don't pay attention to it. But Mike Hook had just secured a deal to buy a few tons of corn from a local farmer near him that does organic. So we have a few tons of white and a few tons of red corn coming. So in 3.5 to 4 years, look out for some interesting, different versions of our corn whiskey.
Okay.
Perfect.
But yeah, I don't pay attention.
Interesting story, but okay, great.
It comes to me when I pay for it. I'm happy. Don, last comments?
This has been great, guys. Love the support. I'm so pleased to get this cask whiskey out to you guys and talk about it. I'm super proud of it, and I'm still completely humbled on the awards we got. I sometimes when I think about it, I still think I'm dreaming.
No, you deserve it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But hey, anytime you want to have us on, love to come on. This is great fun, and
I've
cheers to
already
you
got
guys.
half the questions for the next time already done. So I'm done. I just want to say quick thanks to Dave, Richard, Joss. Thank you very much for everything. Thanks for Kent on the side for your participation. Thanks for John Jameson for buying a bottle tonight. And I'm wrapping it up. This is it. Well, that's all the time, ladies and gentlemen, whiskey brothers and sisters. This has been a fantastic evening. And you can tell I'm starting to slur a little bit. I had a little bit too much. Thanks to the panel. You guys were fantastic. Special thanks to Dawn and for Last Straw in Vaughan or Concord or both, which is part of the GTA, so it's fine. I learned so much, had a fantastic time and process, and had too much fun. more than I deserve, really. Join us 3 Saturdays from now. So it's exciting. So July 17th at noon, our time, 7 o'clock for our guests in Ireland. We'll be starting our 10-week international whiskey with Hitch Distillery in Lisburn, Ireland.
Wow.
It's so exciting. So as a final note, if you don't want to miss a minute, like, subscribe, all that stuff, and we'll see you later. But grab a glass, whatever you have the most of, gentlemen. And again, this is
I don't have a
to
lot of anything.
okay. Just crack a top up and we're done. Here's to good company. Here's to good whiskey. Here's to good conversation.
Good cocktail.
And fantastic cocktails from Dawn. And mine were okay. I'm okay with mine. I'm okay with mine.
Woo!
Sláinte. Cheers. Have a fantastic